The most important word is dead. The next most important word is queen. And in that sequence, the least important word is Lord. And that's a lesson for writers. It's a tool for writers. Put the most interesting, important elements at the beginning and at the end. And what I love about this program is that I kind of think of it almost like athletic training camp, where we're building our muscles. And we may not, a third grade teacher may not teach The Great Gatsby, but the strategies of storytelling, the ideas of language are embedded there, and this will make the teacher stronger and more versatile, more curious about literature, and continue to be a champion of literacy in the community. So what's really fascinating and interesting is to think about why Shakespeare chose or landed on this particular version. And my argument is that it's the best version.
You may not know that William Shakespeare is Roy Peter Clark's favorite author, and a favorite among many around the world. In fact, we used to celebrate Shakespeare in the Park right here in downtown St. Petersburg, and our very own Dave Cook founded another celebration, Shakespeare by the Sea, on the East Coast. So let's go see how they celebrate Shakespeare there.
The picturesque Jupiter Beach coastline is the perfect backdrop for the 25-year tradition here on the Treasure Coast. For 2 weeks in July, the Palm Beach Shakespeare Festival presents Shakespeare by the Sea. Elizabeth Daschle is the producer and director of marketing for the performances.
Here you go, a bit about the history of the festival.
A lot of people say, you're doing Shakespeare in South Florida outside in the summer? Well, the truth of the matter is we are doing it. We're doing it for our year-round residents, our kids who would normally be in school, the parents who would normally be just work, pick up from school. It gives everybody a chance to really appreciate the beauty of summer here in South Florida. We make it truly accessible, where a lot of young people might not be so encouraged to go into a theater feeling they have to dress up, or they get this idea that being at a theater is somehow stuffy, where out here they could just kick back, relax, wear your flip-flops, grab your beach chair. It's an activity and a fun thing to do, and then they get sucked in. And we have so many young people who tell us that this is not only their first time seeing Shakespeare live, it's their first time seeing any live theater at all.
And here's your donation.
And the casual outdoor atmosphere is a magnet for young people like Michael Jenick, who drove down from Orlando for the performance tonight. For him, Shakespeare has a special connection.
I did theater for 4 years in high school, and it was kind of the thing that helped me get through it. So it was really a really close connection to me.
Words in the bar's mine.
So it really speaks to me on a personal level, because it was a really strong part of my high school experience. So exposing students to theater in general is a really good thing to do, because you understand where entertainment came from, centuries ago, and you understand a lot about how English has changed over the years from, Old English to the modern colloquial terms that we use nowadays. And it's really good to appreciate where we were, so we can see where English has come today. So.
Who shall I compare to a summer's day?
That perspective inspired Seth Trucks to get involved with this company. As a classically trained actor in Europe, Seth will play Horatio tonight, but his main focus as Director of Educational Outreach is to make the words of the master relevant to kids today. As part of that effort, he'll be visiting schools all year long to get students excited about Shakespeare.
It's certainly especially important as we move into this more technological era where we're communicating less and less with language, both verbally and in the way that we write to each other. It's getting condensed and truncated, all the ways that we speak. So it's important to study the other end of that spectrum and be familiar with someone who takes the language as far as it can go instead of breaking it down as small as it can get, which is what we're starting to do.
Right. For all, our thanks!
One way this group makes Shakespeare come to life is setting the characters and scenes in the 21st century, plus using contemporary costuming, but still preserving the richness of the language.
Save me, and hover me with your wings, O heavenly guards! What would your gracious figure?
Alas, he's mad!
Why did you not come your tardy son to time? Oh, say! Remember me.
It is. We always start with the script, of course, and we always use Shakespeare's words, but we cut the script. We bring it down to 2 hours with intermission, typically. That's important because it makes it accessible. We in the company have always believed that Shakespeare does not belong on a shelf. It's not a museum piece. It's alive, it's breathing.
Hamlet! Why, I will fight with her upon this theme!
We start with the script, we interpret that, we set it in sometimes very interesting places.
40,000 sisters could not, with all their quantity of love, make up my sum. What wouldst thou do for her? Oh, he is mad, Leontis.
It's a very modern Hamlet. In fact, it's today. There's a rotting from within. I took the line, something is rotten in Denmark, and really ran with that.
So while the wet weather may have rained on the usual attendance for the performance, it did not dampen the enthusiasm for the audience that witnessed this unique presentation of a classic. Now Chastity Downing has more about how some students spent their summer with a new classic.
Hi, I'm Chastity Downing. I'm middle school English language arts specialist, and we're here today at Medellin Middle School to look at our summer bridge program. Although it's summertime, literacy and learning is very much alive in the summer bridge program in the classrooms, and we're here today to show you how. This is a 7th grade class with Mr. Burmaster. They are doing a read aloud lesson with the novel Diary of a Wimpy Kid, The Long Haul. This is a classic series that is popular with our middle school students. Thanks to your referendum funds, not only do students get to use the novel in Summer Bridge, but they will also be able to take the novels home with them after Summer Bridge ends.
But I'm guessing Roger's teacher is going to be pretty confused when she reads.
What we've been able to do is use a novel that's of high interest to the kids, and by reading the book, it's helping them practice with their fluency. By reading out loud, they really have been increasing their fluency, so they're reading accurately with more correct timing and everything, so it's working very well for them. And also they're learning the comprehension skills, and there's little graphics in the book to help them create that mental picture that they need to develop also. I think it's been most beneficial because, again, it's a book that's high interest to them. It's very interesting. They're very familiar with it. And one thing is, I've had several kids say that they've already read the book before, and I said, you know, there's great value in rereading, because when you reread, you pick up things that you'd missed the first time, and the students have noticed that by us reading it together again.
And the last thing for you, the Florida standards. Have you really been able to make the connection with the Florida standards in using the pieces of this novel?
Yeah, what I've been able to do is, as we've been reading the book, is to able to connect in the reading standards with the Florida standards, and be able to have the kids make the connection of the comprehension of the book with the actual standards that they're reading about.
Jaquez, I noticed that you guys were working in a group with the Diary of the Wimpy Kid. Tell me about how the activities are helping you with your reading skills.
Well, really, I've always been good at reading. So and I've already read the whole series, so this is a chance to read the 9th book and finish.
How are you going to take those skills to help you when the new school year starts?
I'm going to be able to read books over my Lexile, because Diary of a Wimpy Kid books are over my Lexile, so it's making my Lexile really high.
Thumbs up. How many people are doing transitions when they give each example?
In the class with incoming 6th grade students, our 2nd year Summer Bridge teacher, Ms. Trivison, uses small group, independent, and whole group reading techniques to engage students.
The big difference for me has been I've been able to set up rotations, which I really couldn't do last year. It gave me that 3rd piece to the puzzle, and the kids are really engaged. So it's not just a book where, during the school year it might be a little different because they have a little more support, but here I need them to be able to work independently. And they're so engaged in the book, I actually have kids reading ahead, so I have to kind of work that in. But when they come to group, they're excited to talk about the book, and kids that are probably a little more resistant are more into it than they would be during the school year, because it's something that they like to read.
Do you find that the activities provided for the book also give you an opportunity to connect with the Florida standards as you read the book?
Oh, Absolutely. We're doing TDQs, text-dependent questions, which is huge and what we do all year. So I'm teaching them how to answer incomplete sentences. I'm teaching them how to find text evidence and go back into the book. And because it's a book that they're comfortable with, they're more willing to do that, and they're not as resistant. So it really helps to have a familiar format, even if they haven't read the book. Just the fact that it's a fun book to look at, they're going to be more into it. That's really important, because sometimes kids will answer a question, but they don't.
Something a little bit different in Summer Bridge has been the Diary of the Wimpy Kid novel. Could you tell me a little bit about what you do as you read the novel? I notice you have your workbooks out.
We define vocabulary words, and we find out what's going on in the story.
And how about you? How do you use your book?
Well, we have TDQs, and we have questions to answer about the book. There's some questions about the characters and the setting.
TDQ is new for me in 6th grade, so I'm going to learn a lot.
I see that you guys are working in a small group all together with Miss Trivison kind of leading the way. Tell me how different it is and how it helps working in the small group with the work in the novel versus when you're doing it on your own.
You in a small group, you can understand it a little bit better than when you're by yourself.
What are some of the other things that you like about working in small group?
You get to answer questions, so you'll be ready for next school year.
What did you think about this book? Did you think it was a good pick for a summer read?
I think it's a great book. It describes everything in detail. The story is well plot, and it's a great book for the summer.
And we'll be visiting classrooms throughout the year to show you your referendum funds at work as they support literacy.